Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to episode 71 of the Fightersrep podcast. I'm your host, the Fightersrep Fez, joined and proudly to be joined by none other than the Prime Minister of Richmond Heights, Miami, Florida, Ignorant Behavior, showing off the guns in the Fightersrep tank top. Gary, how are you doing, young man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just, out here working, trying to make a living.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Gary, we are in the midst of fight week. It's going down Saturday, Gary. What they're calling the biggest fight card ever in boxing history. I'm not sure if that's hyperbolic, Gary. I'm not sure if they really mean that. I can see an argument for it, Gary. This is a pretty incredible card. What are your thoughts on this thing being called, the greatest card in boxing history?
I don't know greatest. I was going to research and I didn't get a chance to see, what was the top cards ever in boxing history. Yeah. I didn't really get to, I wanted to do it because you was like, you just want to argue. Which is funny as hell as an inside thing, but
you do like to argue, Gary. We got to be honest here.
But I was like, I don't know. I got to check that out. It is from top to bottom. It's a fucking good card, man.
It's like a Las Vegas buffet, but in Saudi Arabia, Gary. This thing is looking delicious from top to bottom, bro. Hey, Gary.
It's a Holly Berry card, delicious from top to bottom. I don't know that for a fact, but that's how I imagine it in my head. Holly Berry, small Gary, Beyonce.
This is the Holly Berry Beyonce / Golden Corral of fight cards right here, and it's just everything you could have ever asked for. So what I wanted to do today, I wanted to go fight by fight with you. Get your thoughts, get your prediction. As you can see, we got the prediction Fez on. So I wanted to go fight by fight, get your thoughts on the fight, get your prediction, and then we'll do my prediction as well. And, whatever comes up during the course of our conversations, we just handle them.
I heard my prediction from you. I said, I'm not going to tell you till we live. I want to see your reaction and what you say. I had to hide it from you.
Oh, my God. And listen,
normally we talk.
I circled some faces on the poster that I sent you yesterday, but hey, I maintain the ability and the freedom to change my mind, okay? Because this card is crazy. There's a lot of 50-50s on here, Gary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 50-50s on here.
I don't know if it's a lot of 50-50s, but it's some 50-50s.
Well, let's start off with the first one. This is a fight. I'm not going to lie. I like this fight. I'm not sure how everybody else is going to feel about it, because, especially in the United States, because they probably don't know these guys as well as, real hardcore fight fans do. But first, I guess, marquee fight will be Joshua Buatsi taking on Callum Smith. These are two guys from out in the UK. Very, very good fighters. And it's going to be for the WBO World Interim Light Heavyweight Championship, Gary. Callum Smith, one of the Flying Smith brothers. A bunch of, it's like the whole family fights. And Buatsi's a guy out there in the UK that I've been watching for a while as well. He's looked good. He took on a guy, I believe his last name is Richards, who gave Bivol a tough fight, and he beat him. And so I've been really watching this guy. I don't know if you know much about these guys, but go ahead and give me your thoughts and your prediction on this first fight here.
Joshua Buatsi. I haven't seen a whole ton of fights of him. Obviously I know what we're talking about. I watched him against Richards, who lost to Bivol, but gave Bivol some trouble at some points.
Yeah.
And because I did watch that whole Richards and Bivol, and so Richards did hurt him. Even though he hurt Richards hurt him a couple times in that fight. I think Joshua Watson, he gets hit a lot. And I kind of wanted to lean to Callum Smith. You know, I kind of just wanted to lean to like for the upset Callum Smith because he's been in there with like the best of the best. He's been in there with Canelo. He's been in there with Artur Beterbiev.
Right.
And so the moment, but then I said, let me go watch the Canelo and the Artur Beterbiev fight again because Joshua is a pressure fighter. He has power and he does walk you down. So I said, let me just, because sometimes you forget. So I went and watched it again. I said, nah, Joshua's winning.
Yeah.
Because Callum Smith, he has a propensity to sit against the ropes a lot. He did it in Canelo fight. He did it in Artur Beterbiev, who are pressure fighters, and it didn't work out for him. Hard hitting pressure fighters, and he likes to sit against the ropes. He doesn't use his length as much as he should. I feel like he should. If he stuck behind the jab and kept the distance and moved his feet in box, he could do that. But that's not what he does.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Joshua's going to pressure him and get to him eventually, put him against the ropes and start landing combinations and just break him down. And I wanted to go. I wanted to say Colin because I'm like, man, he's longer, he's taller. If you can box, because I feel like Joshua, if you get a real boxer in there with him that's moving and he has that high guard. So if you he a lot of times he waits till you finish punching for him to punch. And with the high guard, and sometimes he does a shoulder roll, but most time it's the high guard. Yeah. And if you let off those punches like that, it slows him down. If you keep turning him, he has to reset his feet and stuff like that. But Colin just doesn't have that in him. So I'm going to go Joshua.
Well, I'm going to have to actually agree with you on this one, Gary. I'm seeing, what I'm seeing besides everything you said, which I think was right on point. I don't love the way Callum Smith uses his reach. I don't love the way he uses his height. He's long, but he doesn't use it. You know what I mean? Sometimes in boxing, it's the motion in the ocean, Gary. It's not all about the length. And so,
that's what they told you.
And so, I also feel like Buatsi is the fresher fighter. He hasn't lost. I mean, I felt like the loss to Canelo was pretty bad. It was pretty one-sided. The loss to Beterbiev was a TKO in the 7th round. He doesn't know how to lose, does Buatsi. He hasn't been taught how to lose. And I'm not sure Callum Smith has the skill set to teach him. Again, he's a little bit older, 34 years old, to Buatsi's 31 years old, Gary. And I'm not seeing any fire there in Callum Smith at this stage of his career that tells me that he's going to get the young gun or the relatively younger gun in Buatsi out of there. Buatsi still seems to me like a hungry fighter. He still seems to be improving, whereas I feel like Callum Smith is kind of starting to decline. So in my opinion, based on the what the gems in the Fightersrep Fez are telling me, the prediction Fez, I'm actually leaning towards a unanimous decision for Buatsi. Even I would say my backup would be a late stoppage, very late stoppage, maybe in the championship rounds. But maybe the 10th round on. But I'm really leaning towards a unanimous decision towards Buatsi. What are you thinking about the result of this fight?
I think Buatsi can get him out of there, but I'm leaning towards the decision too. I'm leaning toward decision just because I've seen Colin in there with Canelo. Right. Even though he got dropped, he still kept fighting. And Beterbiev beat him up pretty good. Mm-hmm. Now, he ended up getting stopped in that fight, but I don't think Beterbiev has better defense than.
Remember what Canelo was doing to his arms too? Remember his arms were all like messed up? Gary, that was crazy strategy.
This thing is, I think that both Canelo and Artur Beterbiev have better defense than Buatsi. Buatsi's defense is lacking a little bit. He gets hit a lot. And that's the only thing that made me want to pick Colin. but I was like, he's not going to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
He's not going to be.
Legendary SS Jackson says, I've got Beterbiev in more convincing fashion. We'll get to that fight.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah, we're going to get. Don't get us riled up early, man. We'll blow our load at the beginning, then we'll have to go to sleep. If Smith is able to shake back well after the Arthur KO, he could box well against Buatsi. And I agree. He's actually had a fight in the interim. He TKO'd a guy by the name of Carlos.
Yeah, like 14 losses though.
Yeah, he TKO'd Carlos Galvan on the 30th of November. And I do think, obviously Callum Smith is a talented guy. I mean, otherwise he would have never even gotten a chance against Canelo and Artur Beterbiev. I'm just right now, gun to the head. I got to go with Buatsi, man. He looks better. He looks like the better guy to me right now. So,
I mean, the fight he took it seems like almost like get your confidence back fight.
Right.
It's a guy with 14 losses. A small. I mean, most people are smaller than Callum Smith.
Right. But, or just stay warm, right? Or just like a stay busy fight.
Yeah, just like sharpen your skills up. I mean, Joshua, he hits hard. He's athletic. And he's a pressure fighter, which has given Callum problems in the past. And I don't know. I just don't feel like. I feel like he can catch him. I wanted to pick him, but Callum can catch him with the left hook or that straight right that he throws. Yeah. He can catch him because Joshua Buatsi doesn't have the greatest defense. So
right.
And Artur Beterbiev better have better ones, better defense.
It sounds like you've got a little bit of an issue, and that'll make it exciting because Callum Smith does have pretty good power. Sounds like you got a bit of an issue with Buatsi's defense.
I do. I do.
So it's going to be exciting to see. That's an exciting matchup. A guy with big power versus a guy who, maybe has a bit of a leaky defense from what you're seeing. I think it'll be a great fight, but going to go with Buatsi on that one as well. So on to the next, but before we continue, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, join the channel. There are several different levels at this point. We greatly appreciate you joining the channel. Any super chat or super thanks or any money you spend here, including buying your merch below, just gets reinvested right back into the channel for us to continue to drop daily content for you, go live for you every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to discuss, or 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern to discuss boxing. And we go live after all the big fights. We'll be going live after the event on Saturday as well. So we appreciate you subscribing and joining. On to the next one, Gary. This one, Gary, for the vacant WBC interim heavyweight championship of the world, Zhilei Big Bang Zhang taking on Ajit Kabayel. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. This is a
Me
fight.
And you too, brother. I want to fuck that name up all night.
Yeah, listen, I'm ashamed of myself because Kabayel is Kurdish. I mean, I don't speak Kurdish, but they're pretty close to the Arab countries. I should be able to figure that out. I want to say it's Kabayel, which just means tribes, Gary, in Arabic. I'm not sure if the last name is derived from Arabic. It means tribes.
You give me a schooling lesson right now? You embarrassing me because I don't know.
Hey, come on, we gotta be a little bit educational sometimes, Gary. We can't just be a pair of of old nasty old men. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So on to the next one. Ajit Kabayel, Zhilei Zhang. Gary, this is a fight I'm really excited about. I've been watching both of these guys closely. I like this fight. This for me is a real, for people that don't know Kabayel, man, for me, this is a real 50-50 fight.
You there, George? Am I here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You're back.
You kind of froze. Is it good? Oh, I was froze. I don't know which one of us.
I think it's you. We seem to be okay here. But what I was saying, real 50-50 fight here, Gary. I'm very excited about this fight, Kabayel versus Zhang. I think people that haven't seen Kabayel fight might be questioning this fight, but I really like this guy, man. He's a tough guy. Smaller guy, Gary, but tough guy. Tell me what you think about this matchup.
I think Kabayel. Just because I like Zhang, but I seen Zhang against Joseph Parker. Yeah. Joseph Parker was faster, the better boxer, could even though he dropped Joseph Parker twice, but I think Cabal has more power than Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
He's quick, he's young. You know, I just think that Zhang is what is he, like 100 years old? No, he's like 41, right? 41, 42. And even though he has the power,
he's like Joe Louis. He's like Joe Louis in Coming to America.
Joe Louis is 70. Yeah.
What
Exactly.
is that, Velvet?
I got him. I got him on just on points. His work weight, his how fast, how much faster he is. He's a better boxer. That and he's younger. You know what I mean? And I feel like Zhang can in any fight, he has a chance to really connect and knock somebody out.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna go with Cabal.
Yeah, you know, and it looks like legendary SS Jackson is on your side on this one. He's saying Cabal on points or late stoppage. He's got the better engine work rate, doesn't neglect the body. 137 years old, says legendary SS Jackson. For me, Gary, man, I hate doing this, but I got to agree with you again, which, you know, I absolutely despise. You know, Cabal looked real good to me in his last fight. I wasn't sure if he was going to get by Frank Sanchez. I mean, he looked good to me prior to that. He actually TKO'd Arslanbek Makhmudov. Before that in Saudi Arabia, looked pretty good doing that. And then when they put him in there against Frank Sanchez, the guy who, you know, the Cuban heavyweight who trains with Canelo and them, I said, oh, that's a tough fight. And when he was able to get Frank Sanchez out, despite the fact that, you know, they said Sanchez injured his leg. I mean, whatever, all these fighters go in there with injuries. I'm not going to take too much for Cabal's win here. KOs him in the 7th round. I said, my goodness. I said, this Cabal kid is, I think, better than advertised if he could beat a guy like Frank Sanchez. And now, like you said, Zhang, you know, he's coming off the knockout win against Deontay Wilder, but, you know, I don't value that win as much as I would have maybe
in the past.
Yeah, when Wilder was still, you know, firing on all cylinders before he was, you know, toking the ayahuasca or licking the toad or whatever he's doing now. But those are quality wins for Cabal. He's, like you said, he's younger. Zhang, you know, yeah, he knocked out Wilder, but he's 41 years old, Gary. Gary, he's our age. Gary, he's our age, Gary.
Man, I was at work today, and that's what I'm saying. I was at work today. I'm not comparing myself to a top tier athlete because I'm not right no more. I used to be in my heyday, not no more. I had literally had to jump. Literally, I had to jump on something today and pull my quad today. And I was like, oh, shit. Hey, so I know how the age affects you, all that stuff. So he never was a Zhang or Zhang or however you say his name. You know, I fuck up names all the time.
Yeah.
But he was never the most athletic guy. And not even in an older age, he is probably worsened.
But, you know,
and he got Wilder out of there. But Wilder, everybody pretty much figured out Wilder. Wilder's not the same fighter he was after all those fights with Tyson Fury and licking the frog, and as Legendary says, licking the frog and ayahuasca. It didn't work for Aaron Rodgers either.
Yeah. Man, I'm staying away from that. I don't want to lose my fire. You know what I mean? I barely got any left. You know, I'm like you know, when the barbecue's about to go out. That's where I'm at right now. But,
you know, Will Smith did the ayahuasca too. He ended up slapping Chris Tucker.
Dang, man. He needs a double dose of that. You know what I mean? He needs to get jiggy with some ayahuasca, that guy.
Oh, jiggy.
Well, you know, younger guy, 41 years old versus 32. I mean, that's like another generation, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, Gary, being somebody who was once 32 and that's also been 41, I can tell you that that's different. That's just that's different. So I don't care if Zhang is 6'6" and Kabyle is 6'3". Tremendous size advantage. I'm sure Zhang still got the power. One thing you said, he's never been that athletic. Look, I don't want to take too much away from his athleticism. Yeah, I don't think he's always had like the best feet because he's such a big, bulky guy. But I do think he's got pretty fast hands for a big guy like that. You know what I mean? So I can see how he poses a problem, right? He's almost like a Bacoli. He's almost a little bit like a Bacoli, where their feet aren't super fast, but they can generate a little bit more speed and power out the hands than you would expect.
Yeah, well, Bacoli ain't 100 years old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But for those same reasons, I'm going to go with Kabyle. I'm going to go with a unanimous decision again for Kabyle. I think it's going to be an action-packed fight while it lasts because Kabyle just walks you down kind of thing. I think he's going to have to fight maybe a little bit different here because he doesn't want to get caught with that big power.
I don't know if Kabyle walks Zhang down or Zhang.
Right.
I fucking name all the time. But I don't know if he if he walks him down because you gotta. I mean, Zhang, no matter how old he is, he got that old man strength now.
Yeah.
Because you've been 32 and you've been 41.
Been there.
And every now and then your wife tried you. Your wife tried you. You got to show her. I still got that 32 in me now. And then she be walking around a little funny the next day now. So you fuck around and find out.
Yeah, but I got like 3 to 4 strokes of that 32 in me before I overrev it to 45, 50. You know what I mean? That's what happens. So,
yeah.
Ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna be able to walk him down the way he did Frank Sanchez. He's gonna have to move around and box maybe a little bit. I do think at some points he'll crowd him and do his thing and try to bang him to the body and bang him to the head.
The blueprint is Joseph Parker. Look what Joseph Parker was able to do: jump in and jump out and move around and make him. He's older. Make him come and go through the body some.
Yeah. And Legendary says Zhang will test his chin, which is definitely a possibility. And Fighter Flight says he has good timing, which I think he does. And Gary, one more educational moment here. I think it would be very, very cool, right? I say this as a man of culture, a man of Arab descent. I think it would be very cool to have a Kurdish. I believe he's Kurdish. I think he's fighting out of Germany, but I believe he's of Kurdish descent. And Gary, I believe they are the largest ethnicity in the world. Don't quote me, but they might be the largest ethnicity in the world without a country. And they've always been like one of these groups among many that were brought into the Arab countries because of oppression. Believe it or not, the Arabs actually let a lot of different cultures into their countries because of oppression. I think of the Kurds. I think of the Armenians. I think of even the Jews during the Inquisition, so on and so forth. So it would be very interesting to have a Kurdish a champion, and I think that would create kind of like what we saw in the Philippines after Pacquiao, right, Gary? I mean, I think you'll see a lot more fighters come out of that region if this guy's able to do something like that. I think it's very cool. And also Zhang, I mean, a heavyweight from China is pretty badass, Gary. I would say that
I don't think it ever been one, right?
No, and I think that would be badass for Zhang to become a champion too, especially considering he's 41. I would love to see that, but either way, it would be cool. Either way, it would be cool. I just think, like you said, Kabyle, unanimous decision. Gary, anything else you want to say about this fight?
No, man. I like I said, I just think younger, faster, fleet of foot boxer. I just I picked Zhang to beat Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
And I seen how that panned out, even though he dropped him twice.
Yeah.
It was just he could not catch up to him. Right. And that's what happens when you get older.
Right.
You can't catch Now look at you. You're smiling. You just
Like,
can't. I remember playing flag football, and these little kids like, "Through." That used to be me to the older guys, and it was
yeah,
just like, whoa, like I can't accelerate the same way I used to. I can't
right,
go
right.
down on you. So that's it. Let's move
Well,
on
I
to the
don't
next
listen.
one.
I don't need you to go down on me at all, Gary. But thank you for that. On to the next fight. Before we do that, please subscribe to the channel. Join the channel. Like I said, we'd greatly appreciate it. Like this video. Tell your friends we're live, and we're doing this thing. On to the next fight. Gary, give me a second here. Looking for the card again. I have screwed it up real quick here. Okay. The next fight is another freaking banger that I just, man, Gary. I mean, it's like I'm walking through the fried chicken section at this point of the Golden Corral. I'm a total boxing fatty right now. It is Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov for the WBC World Interim Super Welterweight Championship, Gary. Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madrimov, Gary. This is a delicious fight, Gary. Finger licking good right here, bro. Tough one.
So
This is a tough one, Gary. I told you 50-50.
no, like
Told
so
me
when I
no.
step back and
There's
looked at
not a
it,
lot of 50-50. This is 50-50, brother.
you think so? I don't think so.
You know?
I say 60-40, Israel Madrimov.
Oh, you got 60 for Israel.
I just think, I mean, you got Virgil Ortiz though, ran in the shots and been knocked down. He has power, but his defense is leaky also. I think Israel Madrimov has better defense. He has power. I think I even give Virgil maybe the more powerful person, but Israel Madrimov has power.
But he's coming up. Remember, Gary, he's come up recently. He hasn't been at 154 that long, right? Virgil Ortiz.
No, but he was always a big guy.
Yeah.
Because he had to almost damn near kill himself to stay at 147.
There you go.
So he's a big guy naturally. And his last fight wasn't as my wife's standing here in towel naked, so she always distracted me. But
don't hit the little yin yang arrows, because I might have to.
I almost thought something else was delicious for a second. But he's a big kid, so that's probably more of his weight. He probably can go even higher than 154 to 160. I just feel like his defense isn't as good as Israel Madrimov. I feel Israel Madrimov cerebrally is a smarter fighter, and I think he's going to have the style to give. I think he's going to knock down Virgil Ortiz.
You're going to knock him down, you think?
Knock him down, not out, but knock him down.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. What makes you think that?
Because like I said, Virgil Ortiz, I don't think he has the best defense. He's aggressive. He comes forward. Israel Madrimov, he can fight, as you've seen in the last fight. Yeah. You know, he don't have to rush in. He's smart. He knows how to keep you at bay sometimes. He knows when I can go bang with you. Now, if he goes bangs with Virgil Ortiz, then all bets are off. Virgil Ortiz is gonna win that one, because I think Virgil Ortiz has the better power. But if he picks and chooses when he bangs and when he boxes, I think he wins it.
Yeah, yeah.
He runs Virgil into something.
We're not all lucky enough to pick and choose when we bang, but if we could, I would. All jokes aside, I agree with you on who I think is going to win. I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for a few days now. This fight is for me, it's a real treat, because I think it's going to be a pretty explosive fight. I enjoyed, as somebody who enjoys technical boxing, I enjoyed the Madrimov-Crawford fight. I thought it was fun to see what they were going to do next, and to watch their boxing brains at work. I'm with you. I think Madrimov has a better pedigree than Virgil Ortiz. I think he's a better technical fighter. I think probably that's why you're leaning towards him. And I agree. He showed me something throughout his career, but especially in there with Crawford.
Yeah, Crawford. Yeah.
You know, I felt like that was, I think me and you had it pretty much even until the last couple rounds when Crawford, I felt like he won the 11th or 12th or something like that. And
I think he won both.
Yeah. Yeah. He won both. Yeah. I thought Crawford won both and sealed the deal. But before that, I thought it was pretty much even. And so to be that good that you can hang with Crawford like that through 10 rounds, I'm impressed with him. I think Ortiz also a pretty good boxer, but not at the same level. But like you said, more power, very aggressive when he lets his hands go. But I felt like he lost that Bohachuk fight, Gary. I felt like he lost that last fight. And I really don't want to disrespect Bohachuk. I think he's a good fighter. I think Israel Madrimov might be a touch better.
Ain't a touch better.
Technically.
I ain't saying a touch. He's better.
Yeah, technically. I think Bohachuk is tough. I think Bohachuk is tough and technically sound. But I think Madrimov, maybe not as tough, still tough, not as tough as Bohachuk, but I think technically
boxing IQ.
Yeah, higher boxing IQ. And you know, I could see Madrimov's footwork kind of, you know, maybe throwing Ortiz off. I could see him getting caught. And I could see Madrimov coming out of this fight with a unanimous decision victory in what would be a pretty close fight. I mean, I predicted so far all three fights, I predicted unanimous decision. And some people might be like, oh, that's boring. But I think all these fights are going to be bangers. Like they could be bangers, you know?
Like I said, I think he drops Ortiz one time. And I think Ortiz gets in a little bit of trouble. I definitely think he drops him. And I just think that his boxing IQ is a little bit, because it even for Terence Crawford, he was saying like the feints and things of that nature kind of slowed him down and kind of made him think a little bit. And Terence Crawford is a high level IQ guy, and it gave him some problems until Terence Crawford started letting his hands go a little bit more, and he won the last. I had it up until the last 2 rounds. I had Terence Crawford up a round.
Gotcha.
So I think you had it even. I had it him up 1 round, but then he closed out the show. But you know,
still close though. It was a good fight. That was a good.
That was a good fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, you know. Again, I think, I mean, Ortiz could win this fight, but I'm with you. I would say I'm closer, though, to 55-45 for Madrimov instead of 60-40. I would say 55-45. I see it a little bit closer. I think Ortiz can win it, but I'll give it to Madrimov.
Yeah, of course. You can always win it with that power. You can always catch a guy with something.
So you think unanimous decision as well?
I mean, I don't know if I'll say unanimous, but I think he gets the decision.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting too.
I can't do with the judges. The judges be
yeah, because we saw him escape. I felt like he escaped that Bohachuk fight with a gift, bro.
Yeah, it's like I can't never tell with the judges. I just think it's gonna be a decision for Israel Madrimov.
Yeah. All right. Well, on to the next one. This one is a pretty exciting fight for me as well. It is Carlos Adames taking on Hamza Shiraz for the WBC World Middleweight Championship, Gary. Adames, the Dominican fighter, and Shiraz, British-Pakistani boxer. You know, the thing I think we also have to consider is, you know, it's almost going to be like a home field advantage for a guy like Shiraz in Saudi Arabia, if we're just being honest. But, you know, I don't think that that's going to matter too much here. That being said, before I get into mine, you know, what do you think is going to happen in this middleweight title fight, Gary?
So I'm not crazy familiar with both of them. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I did watch, because I knew we were going to talk about this now. I did watch some of the fights, and I feel like Adonis, that's his name, correct?
Yeah.
All right, I'll make sure I pronounce because I mess up names all the time.
Gary,
So I feel like
Gary, do not piss off the Dominicans in Miami right now, bro.
Adonis. I want to go with Adonis.
Wow. Okay.
Sherrod. I mean, I mean, I don't know, man. This is the 50-50 one.
Yeah.
I don't know because Adonis, he's aggressive, he's powerful, he's athletic, he moves around. But I did see the one fight that he did lose. It was a guy with boxing skills that can move around the ring and
Yeah.
get him out of there. Now, I think Sherrod, that's how you say his name, correct?
Shiraz, yeah.
Shiraz. Shiraz is the more behind the jab guy, technical guy, and sharp. He's very sharp, man. And he has power also. Man, I'm
Gary,
questioning what I'm saying right now.
Gary, are you going against your philosophy again on this fight? You remember the last time you did that, Crawford versus Spence.
Well, from the fights I've seen of Adonis, he is the more athletic, like on the toes. I like a guy on his toes.
Yeah.
Fast speed, fast speed, and he has power. He can get wild at some points when he thinks he got a guy hurt. Shiraz, he's more disciplined in his style of fighting.
Yeah.
Behind the jab, catch you sharp, boom, boom. He's more flat-footed though. So that's why I say it's 50-50, man, because it's just it's a tough fight to really
You're
say
right.
because you got one guy that's disciplined, sharp. He's the taller guy, longer guy. He's I'm gonna stick with Adonis, but I'm not confident in my pick.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, this is a really close fight, I think, as well. And the reason I feel that way, Gary, is because I feel like Adames is a bit more, he's further along in his career. He's 30 years old. If he's hit his prime, he's in it now. Shiraz, just 25 years old. He's got 21 fights to Adames' 25. But at the same time, Gary, this is what's making me slightly tick over to Shiraz, right? 52-48, 51-49. Shiraz is freaking 6'3", Gary.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
6'3", with a 75-inch reach to, Adames was not that small, 5'11", with a 73-inch reach, but it's still an advantage, 6'3" to 5'11", and a couple inches on the reach. And then on top of it, Shiraz has never lost, man, and he's fought in Saudi Arabia already. And so it's almost like, again, he's going to be kind of having a hometown advantage. He is from, England, but he's already fought in Saudi Arabia. That's where he TKO'd Austin Williams. And, I just think I feel like this kid is pretty talented. I think this kid could potentially be a talented kid. He's never lost. Adames has lost in the past to a guy who, is an okay fighter, Patrick Teixeira, who Xander Zayas beat. Right, so Xander Zayas is not bad. I mean, I feel like Xander, Shiraz, Adames, all these guys are on about the same level. Somebody's going to have to do something to kind of, convince us that they're headed to the next level. I just think Shiraz is his height, his reach, his youth is going to be just a bit too much for Adames, but I could totally be wrong. I'll have it maybe. I'll go with a unanimous decision for Shiraz, but I think
what? I mean, you convinced me. I'm going with Shiraz.
Let's
that's
go!
Not something I do.
Let's go.
That's not something I do. Shiraz, probably knockout though. I think now that I'm listening, probably knockout.
Let me tell you, Shiraz right now, Gary. Another thing I wanted to point out.
I wanted to go Shiraz, but I'm like, man, he's
Gary,
so athletic and he power jumping in and out.
Gary.
And
So Shiraz has 21 fights, right? Check this out, Gary. And I just noticed this now looking at his record. Shiraz has 21 fights, and from fight number 7 on, right? So 14 fights. He's got a TKO in every single one of those fights, Gary, except for one where it looks like the guy retired on the stool.
oh,
You hear me?
yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
Yeah. So he's knocked out everybody. He's TKO'd everybody he's fought in the last 14 fights in a row. And the one that wasn't TKO, I'm seeing RTD, which means he retired or his corner retired him on the stool. I mean, this guy's a problem, Gary.
No, I mean, I was leaning towards him, but it's just when I see the speed and athleticism
No, I hear you. I hear you.
and the power. But like you say, you know my rule. I always go with the technician more than the and he's. But it's not just that he's a technician. He's long.
Yeah.
He's the bigger guy, reach and everything. And the one fight that he lost, not can't think of his name right now.
Teixeira.
Not Teixeira, but like I said, I'm not crazy familiar with him. I watched their fights because I knew we were talking about it.
Yeah.
But the one fight he did lose, I always like to see if a fighter lose a fight. Let's see what style he lost it against and how he lost it. He got outboxed. Jab movement, boom. Even though, it's not equal, it's not apples to apples, but it's a jab, and you're longer, you're taller, and you're disciplined, and you fight behind your jab. Yeah. That's what you do. You fight behind your jab, and you pick apart people. Yeah, so you convinced me, George. This is the one time you can say you convinced me.
I love it. Hey, miracles do happen right here on Fightersrep, and I'm really glad to hear it. And you mentioned technician, which is an appropriate segue, Gary, into the next fight of the night for the WBC World Lightweight Championship, Gary. Shakur Stevenson, the ultimate technician, taking on a young, hungry Floyd Schofield, a.k.a. Kid Austin. Gary, this is a fun one too, man. This is a fun one for boxing fans, for real boxing fans.
Well, this one is also not a 50-50 for me. I got Shakur Stevenson. This is not as hard as the last fight.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I got Shakur Stevenson winning. I just don't feel like Floyd Schofield is ready for a Shakur Stevenson.
Right.
I don't know if he ever will be, but at this point, I definitely don't think he's ready for Shakur. I think Shakur is going to school him. He's going to decision. I don't think Floyd is going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
I just think this is going to be a teacher. I'm a teacher. I'm going to show you. Yeah. You shouldn't have took this fight right now, because even Oscar didn't feel like he should have took this fight right now. All right.
Yeah.
So Floyd fight is off.
Yeah, we have. It's looking like it's off the Riyadh card. Shakur Stevenson's side issues warning on poisoning claim. I'm seeing on the Boxing Scene website.
That must have just happened.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. If someone wants to fill us in while we do our own research, what a shame, because I was kind of excited.
I thought it was going to be a decent fight, but I thought. So Shakur saying he got poisoned?
I don't know. Let's take a look at it. I don't know. Schofield's apparent withdrawal, first reported by Ring Magazine follows his absence from Tuesday's grand arrivals in Riyadh in a bizarre claim by his father trainer that set off an immediate from Stevenson's co-manager. So I don't.
Floyd Schofield,
They poisoned
Kid Austin pulled out.
On Schofield's X page, believed to be run by his father and trainer, Schofield Sr., a since deleted post released shortly before noon ET on Tuesday read, and this is Boxing Scene saying this, they poisoned my son and claimed that a masseuse associated with Stevenson's team had wiped a cream on my son. I mean, Gary, oh my God. Refugio Garcia, appreciate you filling us in there. That's crazy work. I don't know what's going on there. Listen, Gary, you've been there in the trenches with me at Fightersrep dealing with some of these fighters. You never know what you're going to get. And that's just very strange. I guess we'll discuss that more.
First thing, I think Kid Austin saying Shakur was on steroids.
Oh my God.
At one point. Now he's saying, I don't know. That's and to be honest with you, I was kind of proud of Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin, that he even wanted to step up and take this risk.
Right.
That I thought he was gonna lose, but I was like, yo, you gotta have hats off to the kid. That the kid he's not afraid to lose that O. And he wants to go in there with the best. But now this, I mean, I gotta find out more what's going on with it. But that's crazy though.
That is kind of crazy, man. That's crazy that's happening. I guess let's move on to the next one since we don't know what's going on there right now. And this next one, Gary, this is going to be an exciting one. I could see this one ending in possibly a knockout. It's for the IBF World Heavyweight Championship. It's Daniel Dynamite Dubois taking on Joseph Parker, Gary. Very exciting fight here in the heavyweight division. Probably the winner has got to, it's got to be in line to fight Usyk after this one. What do you think about this fight?
I got Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
And I got him because he's been on a roll. He seems to found his
groove.
His groove. You had he was fighting Usyk pretty good until some people thought
he
dropped Usyk. Some people thought he dropped Usyk and won the fight, and Usyk was faking.
Yeah.
You got him knocking out Anthony Joshua. You got him beating Herkovich, which I thought he was gonna lose that.
That was impressive. That was very impressive.
And he beat
Big Baby Miller.
Big Baby Miller, yeah. Yep. He beat Big Baby Miller, so
knocked out Joshua. He's on.
Yeah, he's been a terror, and I just don't see Joseph Parker being able, because Joseph Parker's older than him too. Yeah. He's the younger guy, and Joseph Parker beat Wilder and Zhang, but both of those, Zhang is old and Wilder is kind of like washed a little bit. Yeah. So, yeah, I got Daniel Dubois winning.
I hear you. No, it's I think it's a great fight. I think Dubois has the advantage, maybe to an extent, in that he's 27 years old versus Joseph Parker's 33. But if you ask me, 33, especially in the heavyweight division, you might be priming. You know what I mean? Where Dubois has another advantage is a 2-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch height advantage. But Parker has 38 fights, Gary, to Daniel Dubois' 24. Parker's been a champion before. And I think this is a close fight. And I agree with you that Dubois has kind of been on the rampage lately, just knocking people out. But I'm going to have to disagree with you, which I love doing on this channel. On this one, I think I'm going to have to go with Joseph Parker on this one. Why, Gary? Because I think he's the better technical fighter. I really do. I think Dubois has maybe a power advantage. Not maybe. I do think he's got a power advantage. I do think he's fearless. He goes in there and he's not scared to wing shots and kill or be killed. And I think we saw that against Anthony Joshua, because when he knocked Anthony Joshua, Gary, he was kind of retreating at the time, right?
But he timed it See, I don't mean to cut you short because I see Fight or Flight is going crazy on here. And you're saying this. I think y'all don't respect Daniel's IQ. It's not just power because he set up Anthony Joshua. He's seen what Anthony Joshua was throwing. Anthony Joshua threw it one too many times, and he caught him. But before then, it wasn't just, hey, I'm a power guy. No, I see what you're doing. And Herkovich is a very talented boxer, and he dropped Herkovich.
Yeah.
You know, and Usyk is the top of the mountain right now. And some people think he dropped Usyk.
Yeah.
He's not like a low IQ fighter. We can't do that to him. But go ahead with your soliloquy, and I'll get at you in Fight or Flight.
But like Fight or Flight is saying, no, with Usyk, it was a low blow. Daniel quit with Usyk and Joyce. Look, I won't go as far as to say he quit with Joyce. I think I have to give fighters grace, right? Because if my orbital bone broke and I was on the verge of blindness, like a sport is not worth it for me to continue and go blind and ruin my life. At least for me, I don't really think that's quitting per se, but I guess you could call it that. I think that's preserving yourself to fight another day. You know, I think that's intelligent. But I do agree that with Usyk it was a low blow, or rather, what I think is Usyk sold it as a low blow, so he can get some rest. And I think when the referee called it a low blow, Usyk decided to stay down. I think had the referee said no, that was a fair shot, I think Usyk would have just stayed up and fought and still ended up with the same result. Fight or Flight says, in no way fought with a broken face and Margarita. I mean, listen, credit to them, but, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe one break is worse than the other. I mean, again, I can't imagine the bones that are holding my eyeball in place collapsing. I mean, I just, for me, it's just not.
I mean, hats off to them, but like you said, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Like you get certain fighters that say, you know, you get corners that throw in towels that say, hey, let me save my fighter, where certain corners won't throw in a towel and just let the fighter get the shit beat out of them. And they died, like, what was it, Max or something?
Yeah. That was really sad. So, you know, I guess my point is, let me get back to my point. I do think Dubois is very strong. I do think, you know, he caught Anthony Joshua when he was hurt himself. I do think if you try to slug it out with him, you're going to get, you might get knocked out. He's got, you know, he's a young guy, very strong with vicious power. But I do think if Joseph Parker can survive the onslaught, he can win a unanimous decision. And that's what I'm going with here, because I do think Joseph Parker is the superior boxer to Daniel Dubois. Perhaps you disagree with me, Gary, but I think Joseph Parker is the superior boxer between these two technically.
I'm calling it right now. Joseph Parker gets stopped.
Damn.
He gets stopped. He gets stopped. This doesn't go to a decision. He gets stopped. We've been saying decision all night. No, Joseph Parker gets stopped. And I want to know what, because I see Fight or Flight saying that was a different Joshua. I mean, how was he a different Joshua? I don't understand that at all. I think it was the same Joshua that we seen in the Ruiz clip, that we seen Klitschko clip and drop, that we seen, you know, Usyk school. I mean, it's the same guy. Even when he beat Dillian White, he got rocked that fight.
Yeah, but what he's saying is Parker fought a better version of AJ, which, you know, is possible.
I disagree.
It's possible because at that time when Parker fought AJ, I don't think he lost at that time. He hadn't been beaten yet. So, you know, that could be the case. But either way,
I think Anthony Joshua, and I know it sounds crazy because he got beat since then. I think he got better after, you know, losing to Ruiz and Usyk. I just do. I just think that I just think that he learned some things and he got better. Because even
Yeah.
you were like, oh, I think I see the Joshua of old comeback.
Yeah. I felt like he came back for a bit.
But
Yeah.
it's been stories that Dubois beat him in sparring
And listen, I still
plenty of
think,
times. I know sparring's different, but
bro, it's heavyweights. You know, anyone can get clipped out of there. And I felt like Dubois was hurt and winged the shot, and it was a good shot. And credit to him, he knocked Joshua out. But I think
before that, he knocked him down 3 times
yeah,
before that.
I know, but I think if they fought again, I mean, this is me personally. I think Joshua's the better fighter. I think Joshua would win, and I think Parker's going to beat Dubois. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong. Listen, if Dubois beats Parker, I'm sold on Dubois. Right, I'm sold. But I felt like he got a little bit lucky there with Joshua.
How did you get lucky? He dropped him in the first. What was the first round?
Well,
He dropped him 4 times.
I think that's what happened, though. You know, he landed a good shot. Credit to him, and Joshua couldn't recover. And then when Joshua did finally recover and hurt him, he backed up and took him out.
Joshua threw the same punch 3 times. 1, 2, the third time, Du Bois. That was not luck. He said he almost like Tank in Santa Cruz. He was like, "Hey, you threw that punch, you threw that jab, and I come in, I bump
Tank
you. You thought I was hurt more than I was."
But Tank wasn't hurt. Parker was hurt when he knocked out
No,
Joshua.
not Parker. You mean Dubois? Daniel.
Oh, Dubois. Dubois was hurt, right?
Yeah,
Dubois was hurt when he knocked out Joshua. I mean, he had just been rocked himself, so I don't think it's exactly.
And my thing is, I'm gonna leave it at this, and we can move on to the next fight. But it says AJ switch trainers after every fight nowadays. How do you get better if you lose focus?
Yeah.
It's the same way Tyson Fury switched trainers after Wilder, and he went to Crunk Boxing, and he decided to come forward instead of trying to box Wilder, come at him, and he destroyed Wilder.
Yeah.
And now that's not switching trainers after everything, but you know.
No, I hear you. Well, before we go on to the main event, I'm going to ask you guys one more time, subscribe to the channel, join the channel, and help us continue to build. And we greatly appreciate you guys being here with us. Feel free to drop your comments, suggestions, questions, insults, whatever it is in the live chat. Next up, Gary, main event, man. I mean, for the undisputed world light heavyweight championship, it is the rematch. It is Artur Beterbiev taking on Dmitry Bivol. It was an incredibly close fight in the first one. It was very entertaining. I felt like it was a seesaw battle, Gary. I felt like Bivol won the first half of the fight. Beterbiev won the second half of the fight. How do you have this one going? And, you know, what does each guy need to do, Gary, to win this fight?
I still got Bivol winning. I picked Bivol the first time. I actually thought Bivol pulled it off the first time.
Yeah.
I picked Bivol winning again. I think Bivol will be a little bit more aggressive in some of the rounds because I think the judges see activity. So I think he's going to give a little bit more activity. He's going to give a little bit more activity just so some of those rounds that are close aren't go his way more. Because I think the judges reward activity, and like I think Bivol said, like a lot of those is in his gloves. Now, were they pushing against his face and things and hurting him? And I think Beterbiev was trying to beat his arms up so he does less. Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think those punches. I think Bivol had the sharper punches, the more effective punches throughout the rounds, and that's why I gave Bivol the fight. But I mean, I just think Bivol just needs to crank up his activity just a little bit while still being sound in what you're doing.
It was pretty cranked up, man. It was pretty cranked up, though, you know?
No, in some rounds, he just, especially in the later rounds where he laid against the ropes and he didn't have as much activity. And I remember the video we were talking about it.
Gary, he was tired, but wasn't he tired, Gary?
I don't think that it was as tired. I think it was just that, you know, he was being more cautious than he needed to be.
Yeah.
Because when he let his hands go, he landed some shots, and you can see it affected. People don't think it affected Beterbiev. It did. It affected him.
Yeah.
And it made him think about coming in. Now Arthur is going to make adjustments, and he is going to make adjustments.
That's what's got me.
I would say the body for him. Focus on the body, break it down.
Yeah.
Hurt him to the body, just keep affecting his body. Because he likes to sit back on the ropes with a high guard.
Yeah.
Break that body down till he starts thinking about that body and starts dropping it. Where he can't move, his feet can't move a lot. Where he's not irky jerky in and out. And in later rounds, like he did in the last fight, take over with activity and just hitting him. So
yeah. Fighter Flight says, nah, he got tired and was getting beat up, referring to Bivol. Gary, I will agree with Fighter Flight on that. And disagree with you as much as it pains me. I scored it. I scored it a draw. I thought,
I agree with that too, though.
Yeah, I scored it a
draw. Better be Bivol with it, but whatever.
Yeah, I scored it a draw. I felt like Bivol won the first half of the fight for the most part, and I felt like Beterbiev won the second half of the fight. I felt like Bivol was putting up such a pace in those first 6 rounds to keep this monster off of him that he gassed in the second half of the fight. I thought he just could not keep up that pace. I don't think too many human beings outside of maybe Merab Dvalishvili of the UFC can keep up a pace like that. That pace was just absolutely wild. And what you said is what I'm thinking about, right? Because a lot of people, what you said about Artur going to the body, this is what's making this fight difficult for me to predict, because a lot of people, including myself and probably Fighter Flight, are going to say, well, Bivol can just come back and pick up the activity and do the same thing he did in the first fight and win the fight. But that means, he's going to have to improve his cardio, at least in my opinion. Is improving your cardio and picking up your activity easier than the adjustment Artur Beterbiev is going to have to make, which, in my opinion, is to just be a bit more aggressive and pick up his own activity in the first half of the fight and go to the body, Gary, because we know when you go to the body, it starts to kill the legs. And so that's what I'm thinking about in this fight. It's going to be a fight of who makes the adjustment better. Is Bivol going to be able to be more active down the stretch and have better cardio? Or is Beterbiev going to be able to invest a bit more to the body overall, or just be more aggressive throughout the fight? It's very, very difficult for me to predict this fight as well, because, I thought I predicted Beterbiev would win the first fight. I scored it a draw, but they said Beterbiev won. So it made me happy that I was right, but I didn't score it as if I was right. I scored it a draw. Now I'm just going to go ahead. It's hard for me to pick Beterbiev because he's older now. He's even older than he was in the last fight, Gary. He's in his 40s. This kid is what, 34? How old is Bivol? Let's check.
Bivol, I think he's like 34.
34 years old against a 40-year-old. It's just
here's my thing is, we can't look at who landed more. Like you used to always tell me, not always tell me, you still tell me, oh, it's the more effective shots and this, that. I felt like Bivol landed the cleaner shots. Just throughout the fight, he landed the cleaner shots. Now, Artur started walking down a little bit, but Bivol said, but even Bivol said,
Gary, he was beating him up at the end of the fight, Gary. He was walking him down.
Beating him up is a strong word. No, he wasn't. He wasn't beating him up. He was hitting him on his arms and he wasn't getting clean shots. He was hitting him on his forearms. He was hitting him on his shoulders. And even Bivol said he never was hurt. He was never hurt in the fight. And then they asked him, was he tired? He wasn't. He did. Now, he did admit, he was honest. He said he felt the shots through the gloves. It was powerful. He felt them through the gloves, but it was never like he was hurt, wobbled, or like, oh, I'm in trouble. He never was that.
Yeah.
I got to get a kiss real quick. She's gonna shut me up real quick.
Go for it. A little bit of sugar on the podcast. Never hurt with a little bit of sugar. This one is tough for me, Gary. But I think and we're in Saudi Arabia again, Gary. Bivol has to win this fight, Gary. He has to win. He can't lose this again. I mean, but if he loses, Artur probably just retires after this if he wants to, and or moves up a weight class. I don't know.
You don't think he tries to fight Canelo if it's an option?
Maybe. I mean, it's just he said he doesn't. He said he's not going to fight Canelo. He says he'll only fight him if he has a belt.
Yeah.
Beterbiev is about his business, and that's why it's hard for me to pick against him. Gary, I'm going to go with a very close win for Beterbiev again, man. I just think if he invests to the body a little bit and is just a touch more aggressive, that he can even get Bivol out of there. Bivol.
Nah, I don't see that.
I don't think Bivol has the power to knock Beterbiev out, really.
No, he doesn't.
The way Beterbiev has the power to knock Bivol out. But again, this one is 50-50 for me. If Bivol wins, I'm not surprised. If Beterbiev wins, I'm not surprised. But I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one. I've been kind of going back and forth on this one. I'm gonna go with Beterbiev by decision.
I just want to address something. He says Bivol did not hurt Artur. I disagree. And let me clarify.
You thought Beterbiev would hurt?
Hurt him to where he's in trouble. I'm not saying that, but hurt him to where it's a difference. Like I tell people, when you get in there, it's a boom. Oh, that was a good shot. Then boom, wobbly legs, you're grabbing somebody, and you're like, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And you're grabbing somebody. I mean, like a buzz, like a shot. And you're like, whoa, okay, I can't get hit with those again. Or whoa, he caught me, nice one. You know what I'm saying? When you see boxers, like even Ryan Garcia when he fought Devin Haney, he was like, that hurt you. You got hit. Yeah. You felt that, and you were like, oh, okay, that one, I kind of felt that one. That's what I mean. I don't mean like he just hit him in. And Beterbiev, you can tell because you can always tell when somebody slows their aggression down a little bit. Like, okay, hold on, let me step back, let me get it right, and then let me go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I felt like. It was a couple times he got checked. Because always with aggressive fighter, you got to give them something to think about. Hit them with something. Boom. Hey, I'll hit you too. I'll keep you off me a little bit. And that's what I think it was. I mean, I don't know, like, and I felt like on the other end, Bivol felt that power too. That's why he was like, wasn't going to let his hands go as much because he was like, yo, he can hit. This dude can crack. I got to be cautious.
I thought he was tired. I thought he was catching up to him at the second half of that fight. And I'll go as far as, and I'm saying decision, but I think it's a 50-50 chance that he wins by decision or he stops. I think he could stop Bivol. Another thing that comes to mind is I felt like the fight was postponed, I believe, because Artur Beterbiev was injured. How injured was he? I think if Artur Beterbiev comes in fresh, I mean, remember, Gary, this is the only guy to survive 12 rounds.
What did you say earlier?
Beterbiev.
What did you say earlier? All the boxers come in injured.
Yeah, but I think it may have potentially. I mean, dude, it's a consideration when you're talking about a guy that's 40 years old versus a guy that's 34. They postponed the fight. Was he at his best as far as being able to stop a guy? I just Beterbiev is just such a dangerous guy, Gary. He's got that power, man. And
watch how Bivol mind.
I hear you. I hear you, man. It's hard. Listen,
his mind. He's gonna switch. I'm taking it. See, now you're going against what you detect. The
The thing is, I think Beterbiev is also a good technical fighter. I just don't think he's as athletic right now as.
You think Beterbiev is the better technical fighter than Bivol?
I think he does some things better. You know, I think Bivol does things better. I think Beterbiev does things better. I think that's why they neutralized each other. But we'll see. We'll see in the rematch. It's a tough one, but I'm just going to go with Beterbiev decision because I feel like it's the safe, maybe the safe bet, maybe. I think most people are going to say Bivol decision, right? But I think Beterbiev is too dangerous, and I think people are not thinking about the adjustment that Beterbiev can make that you brought up, right? I'm gonna credit you with this too because it's something I thought about, but you really jogged my memory when you said if he just invests to the body. People are forgetting he can make that simple adjustment, and it could be a really rough night for Bivol, you know, who was already tired, in my opinion, in the second half of that fight. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see on Saturday, Gary.
We here on Saturday, baby?
We're going to be here, man, and that thing's happening early in the morning, so we're going to have to run this thing at like noon or something like that, my time, which is
Yeah,
3 or
I
4
always
o'clock
forget when
time.
it's over there. It's so early. I'm gonna have to get up early, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, do you have anything else you want to add to this before we let all the knuckleheads go?
Nah, hey man, I enjoy y'all. Hey, Fight or Flight, I love arguing. So come back to the channel. Anybody else who wants to argue, come back to the channel. We're here, and we're gonna make our sexual jokes.
Oh
Come back.
my God. Gary has the best stamina I've seen for someone who
Whoa.
argues in the argument department. I don't know about the rest of it.
Whoa.
We'll leave
You're
that.
going crazy now, right?
We'll leave that to the sugar mama that appeared for a second ago. But appreciate you, Gary. I'll keep dropping content throughout the week, and me and Gary will be live on you guys on Saturday. Appreciate you guys joining us. Subscribe, join the channel. Appreciate you, Gary. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.